me. And so I just begin to thank God for being that amazing, that he's so amazing that I can't change him, that there is nothing that I can do that can stop him from being God. And so this morning and all week long, I have been praying and actually really seeking God for the word that he would have for those that will be in attendance this morning. And so God began to use me and show me myself. And for the past 2 years, I've been on what I call the growth spurt. I was singing Oceans. I am very careful to sing these songs because when you really think of the lyrics of it, I had to pause in the middle of Spirit lead me when my trust is without borders. And I was like, wait, hold on, what I'm asking for. And so I began to realize that I was afraid for God to grow me. If I could just be transparent, I was afraid to God to grow me because even in my infant state, I was still an unusual being. And so I began to say, well, if you take me deeper, what is that going to look like? And then God told me, he says, listen, you have reached the capacity where you are. What you're seeking me for, what I have to do for you, you can't do it without growing. And so God began to build with me and deal with me on that. And so for the past 2 years, I've been in a growing state. And then God said, I need you to tell the church what I told you. And I say, God, are you sure about it? He says, yeah, I need you to tell them that they have reached the capacity where they are. And in order for me to do what the man of God and what they are asking me to do in their lives, they're going to have to grow for it. Say, grow for it. And so when you reach the capacity of something, Cameron just had a really big growth spurt. Last year, he was in a size 3 shoe. We took him to get shoes, and they said he was in a 5.5. All of a sudden, every shoe that was in his closet, he had reached the capacity that his foot was able to be placed inside the shoe comfortably. Now, in order for him to be comfortable and in order for the shoe to be into his foot to fit the same size as the shoe, we had to get a shoe that could fit his feet. Because the smaller shoe, although it looked cute and it looked nice, it no longer fit him. You got to catch that. It no longer fit him for where he was at this time. Now, mind you, he was the same age. Like, his age hadn't changed yet because his birthday is in December. So here he is, 9 years old, and yet his foot grew 2 sizes bigger. And so God is saying, listen, I'm trying to take you somewhere, but you have to go with me, and I need you to grow with me because what you're seeking me for at the present state, you no longer fit what you asking me for. You're asking me to give you houses, but you still got an apartment mentality. Listen, in order for me to put you in a house mindset, then I need to grow you to the house. And so God said, listen, it should be uncomfortable for you to still be in this same size. It should be uncomfortable for you to still be seeking me for that infamil when it's time for you to be eating steak, baby. So God says, listen, you asking me for steak, and steak is yours. It has been promised to you. It is yours, but you got to get off the milk.
Come on. Hallelujah.
And so God is saying, it's not me that's the problem. It's the fact that you haven't grown towards what you're asking me for.
Come on.
And so, if I can speak for you for a few minutes this morning, I need you to look at your neighbor and tell them, grow for it.
Grow for it.
Tell them again, say, grow for it.
Grow for it.
Now, I need you to pat yourself and say, grow for it.
Grow for it.
Grow for it. And so, as I was studying, God gave me the scripture to begin with. I'm going to give you a lot of scripture this morning, so I need you to follow me this morning. If we can go to Romans 8:31 in the Message translation. Romans 8:31 in the Message translation, it says, so what do you think? With God on our side like this, how can we lose? If God didn't hesitate to put everything on the line for us, embracing himself to the worst by sending his own son, is there anything else he wouldn't gladly and freely do for us? And who would dare tangle with God by messing with one of God's chosen? Who would dare even to point a finger? The one who died for us, who was raised to life for us, is in the presence of God at this very moment sticking up for us. Do you think anyone is going to be able to drive a wedge between us and Christ's love for us? There is no way, not trouble, not hard times, not hatred, not hunger, not homelessness, not bullying threats, not backstabbing, not even the worst sins listed in Scripture. They will kill us in cold blood because they hate you where you're sitting ducks. They pick us off one by one. None of this phases us because Jesus loves us. I am absolutely convinced that nothing, living or dead, angelic or demonic, today or tomorrow, high or low, thinkable or unthinkable, absolutely nothing can get between us and God's love because of the way that Jesus, our Master, has embraced us. There is nothing that will stop you from getting all that God has for you. Nothing living or dead. Nothing thinkable or unthinkable. I don't care who they went to. I don't care what lawyer they had. I don't care whatever everybody else that rises up. Not even the devil in hell can stop the assignment that God has on your life. But I do know that we have the ability to start our own growth. So in this season, in the next few months, in the next few days, I need you to grow for it. Grow for everything that God has promised you. And I promise you, nothing by any means will hinder what God wants to do in your life. Bless the name of the Lord right there for that. So in 2 Peter 3 and 18, 2 Peter 3 and 18, it says, but grow in grace and knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I can remember being a little kid. And I tell you this all the time. At the age of 10, as my dad was ministering to some teenagers at Bible study, he was preaching on purpose. And so at the age of 10, I asked God for my purpose, and he showed me my purpose at 10. Now here it is at 10. God showed me in an arena filled with people. At 10 years old, I hadn't yet grown in order to be able to reach that level of being able to minister to that many people at one time. And so at 10, he showed me where I was going. So from then on, I had to begin to grow and experience him and know him and seek him and know his voice and know his word and how to dissect the word and how to set up a sermon. So at 10, he showed me where I was going, but it took all the way to 32 for him to actually begin to place my feet where I had already seen. And so God said, I showed it to you, but now I need you to let me grow you to reach to that level of what I showed you. So that means I couldn't stay in my 10-year-old mindset called purpose. I couldn't stay there. I couldn't stay just so excited that, oh, God showed me an arena. And every morning I wake up, I'm saying, oh, God showed me an arena. God said, I need you to get beyond what I show you, and I need you to work towards it manifesting in your life. Yes. And so he showed me that arena, and then I had to trust him for him to build me up and grow me in order to get to that place. So when 14 years old, when the youth worker didn't show up to teach the class, God said, okay, this is your first step at growing. So that was my first step. At 10, he showed me my purpose. At 10, I was just writing sermons and pretend sermons and poetry. I had my first poetry was a sermon about prayer. Mama still got it at home in the closet. And so at that point, he was saying, okay, I'm going to show you how to use your words. So that was my step. I showed you an arena. Now let me show you how you're going to get there. Right? And so he showed me that arena, and then he used me. Okay, I'm going to show you to be a woman of words. I'm going to show you how to get into your silence, step 2. I'm going to show you how to be able to be in the room and minister to everybody in the room at the same time. So guess what? I'm going to use you as a teacher. And as a teacher, I learned how to be in one room and be able to connect with several different types of learners. So I had audio learners that learned by hearing. I had the ones that were kinetic. They needed to do something. I had the ones that were visual. They needed to see it. So at my teaching space, this was God growing me again. So he said, remember, I'm taking you to the arena, but you got to let me grow you there in these steps. And so as the teacher, he taught me how to be in one room and be able to connect with every person in the room as a teacher. It's amazing how God was able to do that. So then he took me from my teaching state, and then he said, okay, I'm going to put you in this area, and I'm going to put you in a platform. So now I need you to write a book. So I need to take you from being in a classroom to actually being the book that the classrooms would use. And so I'm going to show you how to write a book. I'm going to show you how to publish. And this was God growing me because I had no idea what I was doing. Remember, I just had the vision and the dream of being in an arena. And I took that and I allowed God to grow me in order for him to be able to use me to the capacity. So here it is in 1999. God gave Bishop Ricky Terrell Washington, at the time he was pastor. We sat down and had a family meeting. He said, all right, I'm going to start a church. I'm going to be a pastor. And I was like, oh, I thought you was doing it already. So cool. You're going to be a pastor. He was already a pastor. Already. From the little boy that his grandmother dressed him up in the suit to school. 3-piece suit. She was preparing him for where he was going. Now, mind you, what if he never opened the book and all he had at 50 plus years old was still that little boy in the 3-piece suit saying, well, my grandmother said I'm going to preach. What if all he did was stay in that mindset, in that vein of the one day? One day I'm going to preach. Do you know how many people leave this earth still talk about one day I'm going to do something? And it's not that there wasn't anything in them for them to reach that capacity. It was them who stunted their growth. Did you know that growing is actually natural? Did you know it is natural for you to grow? It is a joy to grow. Cameron cannot wait. I don't know what it is, but he keeps telling me he almost a preteen. Am I a preteen yet? He can't wait to get 11. You remember when you was excited? Oh, when I turn 18, I'm turning up. Then somewhere along the way, we stopped looking at growing as something natural. And we begin to get fearful of growing. Well, the Lord is moving all of my friends. And he just got me out here by myself. Well, he grew you. He growing you. You know, I don't know my same friends from elementary. I went to school with them. I see them on Facebook. But I ended up going to a different place. And I ended up being in a different field. And a lot of times when I'm around the elementary version, I feel elementary. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm too old for that. At some point in our spiritual life, we got to realize I'm too old for that.
Come on.
If I'm asking God to do something incredible and show me my purpose, then I got to be willing to yield myself over to him in order for him to grow me to where I want to be. And so God is saying, higher ground,
Come on.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you're too big for that.
Come on.
Right? We off milk. We on meat, and I'm going to show you that's in the Bible. That's not me. And so now, in order for us to do what God is trying to do, and it be everybody in this room plus some, we got to be willing to grow for it. You got to be willing to grow for it, for him to stretch you, and for him to move you, and for him to take you beyond where you're going. Because if you just stay right here, all you're ever going to get is right here. All that's ever going to be good for you is right here. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you got to stop worrying about being comfortable and just be concerned with, well, where you going to take me? Where will you take me if I allow God to remove my comfort in order to take me somewhere that he's promised? Oh my God, what does it look like? And so we got to be able to change our minds. So what is it when we grow for it? The first thing we have to do when we're growing for it is trust the plan.
Come on.
The first thing we got to do is trust the plan. Jeremiah 29:11 said, I know the plans that I have for you, right? He said, from your mother's womb, I knew you. Right? And I had a plan for you. The plan to prosper you and to give you the future that you hope for. So from the womb, I had a plan. Now, I need you to trust the womb plan, but don't stay in the womb.
Come on. Oh, teach.
Did you catch that?
Yes.
Trust the plan of your womb, but don't stay in the womb. Even a baby, after so long, we got to go get you out.
Yes. That's right.
After so long, you no longer can fit in the womb.
Yes.
And even if you decide, even if the water don't break, what the doctor's got to do? Break it for you.
Come on.
The water didn't break. Well, I got to break the water because I got to get the baby out. Because the longer you stay in the womb, you actually do more harm to the baby that's in the inside of the womb. So you staying in the womb is actually doing more harm to your life than good. Because the areas that you're trying to go into, I need you to grow beyond the womb state, because if you only have the womb mentality of needing to be latched into this in order for you to survive, you will never be able to stand on your own, because if you don't learn how to breathe for yourself, you're going to always need this connection to breathe for you. And God said, I don't want you on an oxygen mask. I created in you and something in you on the inside for the ability for you to breathe by yourself. So I need you out of the womb, because the womb can no longer carry you.
Come on, yes.
As a matter of fact, you're staying in the womb too long and it's killing you. And so you're seeking God for some stuff, and God is saying, I got this stuff for you, but I need you to get out the womb. Because you're staying in the womb. You're staying in the, I just pray when I'm going through phase. And God said, I'm trying to get you to pray even when you're not going through, because of what's ahead of you, for what's going to happen to you. So I need you to grow past just praying when you're going through. And I need you to pray every day. Because I know that if you can get you to pray every day, what's ahead of you is what I'm trying to get you towards. Are you feeling me? Mm-hmm. And so you got to trust the plan. There are three things that God's plan has. God has a plan for He has a plan for our salvation. He has a plan for our separation. He has a plan for our service, our work, our jobs. But He also has a plan for our success. So everything that God has is a plan for you, which turns out to be a plan that advances the kingdom of God. So He's saying, I got a plan for my kingdom, but my kingdom has been promised to you. So at the end of the day, when you answer my will, it fulfills your will. And not only do you get what I desire, but I give you what you desire. So you're not going to miss nothing if you stick with God. You're not going to miss anything if you trust the plan. But what's going to happen if you don't trust the plan, then you miss everything.
Yes.
And so God has a plan for your salvation. He has a plan for the reason He separated you. If I don't remove you from amongst them, you're never going to grow past them, and not to be better than them, but to be used to be able to save them.
Yes.
Think about it if somebody's drowning. If we both drowning, who going to help us?
Come on.
Right? So in order for somebody to help the other person that's drowning, somebody got to get afloat and above the water. I can't help you if we both drowning, but I can help you if I get above the water and I get to the shore. Then I can help you not to drown. But if we both just in here drowning together, we just gonna die together. And that was cute on Set It Off, but it ain't cute in real life. There is too much life in you for you to die trying to die with them. No, you should be wanting to live so that they can live. Choose life so that your seed may live. So God has a plan for every situation. Psalms 34:19 says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but I have delivered them out of some of them, out of all of them. And so if you use that He has a plan for every situation, then you know that everything that you are going through, God has the ability to use it to bless you. Don't believe me? Romans 8:38, what He says. What He said? He said that all things work together for the good. So even if the devil meant it for bad, I can turn it around and use it for your good. Job lost everything in chapter 1. But by 42, he got back double. It wasn't the will of God, but He says, listen, the devil had an assignment. He got something he wanted to do. He asked me. I told him he couldn't kill him. Why? Why did He say he couldn't kill Job? Because He said, for the living, there is hope. So as long as he is alive, then there is hope for him. So you can afflict him. You can take his cattle. You can take his house. But as long as he's living, then that means that God has the opportunity to breathe life into his situation. Yes. And so God has a plan for every situation. God's plans are aligned to His word. 2 Timothy 3:16. It says that all scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness. If what's being said isn't what the word says, it's not valid. So as long as it lines up with the plan that God has for His word, then it's all good. If you can find it in the scripture and God used it, it's good. You don't believe me? Think about it in the Bible. Bible, God used all these kind of unorthodox people, but he had a plan for them. So here it was, Rahab. You know what her job was, a woman of the night. But God took that situation of the woman of the night, and she's in the lineage of Christ. So even if that situation, God says, I got a plan to use everything, and it lines up according to my word. So if it don't fit my word, it ain't valid. People trying to wish death on you. That ain't in the word, so it ain't valid. Well, he said that I ain't gonna never be nothing because my daddy wasn't nothing. Find the scripture. Is it in there? Tell me where it say in Nehemiah 1:1. Do it say you ain't gonna never be nothing because your daddy wasn't nothing? If it don't line up with the scripture, it's not valid.
Come on. Hallelujah.
So you don't have to believe it. You don't have to attach yourself to it. But what you can do is grow for it. And even if your daddy wasn't nothing, you can say that because of who my God is, I will be everything that God calls me to be. And so you also, not only does God, you have to trust the plan, but the second thing you have to do is train through the process. Train through the process. Growth doesn't happen automatically. Hebrews 5:12 through 15. For through by this time you ought to be teachers. You need someone to teach you again the basic principles of the oracles of God. You need milk, not solid food, for everyone who lives on milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness, since he is a child, but solid food is for the mature. Did you catch that? Everyone who lives on milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness because he's a child, but the solid food is for the mature. So God is saying what it is that you're asking me for is for a mature person. Cameron can tell me all day what kind of car he wants. He can want the car, and I can't stop him from wanting the car. But ain't nobody in their right mind gonna let me pull up to a car lot and give a 9-year-old some keys and let him drop off. They won't even let you rent a car till you're 25, right? Can't even rent a car yet. You can't even get a hotel room until you're 25. And so what is they saying? You're asking for something that you're not mature enough to even be able to sign off on. Amen. And so if you want to be able to get to this place that requires a maturity, then that means you're going to have to grow up in order for you to get to what it is that you're asking me for. So you can't be still trying to drink the milk and do things as the babe in Christ when you're asking God to give you the mature saint need. The mature saint desire. And it's not that he doesn't want to give it to you. He's saying, I got it over here, but can you grow to get it? Wow. Can you reach the place of the mental and spiritual capacity to be able to handle this? Because if I give it to you in your infant state, you're going to ruin it.
Come on, teach. Teach.
Single women,
teach.
If I send you the man today, baby, you're going to self-sabotage it. Relationship gonna be over before you hit the aisle because he know you ain't ready. And it ain't even about being able to cook. YouTube got it, you can learn to cook. It's about your mental and emotional and spiritual capacity to be able to handle what it is as a wife. I'm trying to grow you as a woman and you trying to get to the wife state. He said, I want you to get to the wife state, but you won't let me grow you in the woman state. So how is it that you think you're going to jump over womanhood and just automatically flourish as a wife? You ain't flourishing as the wife because you ain't let me grow you in your womanhood. You're going to have to read my next book for that one. Yes. And so God says, during this time of waiting for the promise, I need you training in the field. Think about Ruth. Everybody want to talk about that Ruth. You study Ruth. I don't want to see no Boaz because he ain't get to do nothing. She did everything. Amen. She had to leave from her cousin them, her mama them, go to a land she ain't even know, to trust in the God that she barely even knew, to leave. You want to be Ruth and you ain't got no Naomi. Well, that's another sermon. And then, not only that, I got to sit in the field all day long. Pay attention to them dropping the grain so I know which spot to go get the grain in when they leave. You know how hot it is? You would have went inside. It's too hot to be standing out here just waiting on them to drop something. Would have been scrolling on Instagram and Snapchat and missed the whole place. So now everybody going and you trying to figure out, I wonder where they put the grain in. I wonder where it went because you missed it. Too distracted and missed it. God said, I was trying to grow you during that situation, but you missed it. You were too distracted about what I hadn't done that you didn't focus on what I was already doing.
Come on, teach, teach.
And so God is saying, everything that you're asking me for is over here. But until you move and grow to reach it, you're never going to get it. And it's not that I don't want you to have it. I want you to have it. I put your name on it. It's yours. But until you move your feet and move and grow yourself out of your comfort zone and get over here to where the stuff is, you're going to forever just die hoping.
Come on.
Die dreaming. One day I'm going to own me a car. One day. And then the place asks you, first thing you got to have is a license. You got your license? No, but I'm going to get me a car. When? People ain't letting you drive off the thing with an ID. Unless you get one of them places where the car gonna break down before you get to the red light. Get you a good, decent car, you need an ID. If your ID messed up, you need a bank account in order for the driver's license place to even let you set up a payment plan. Right? So now you ain't got no ID, you don't have a license, you don't even have an account. Wood Forest over there giving out accounts. You need bad credit, no credit, it's a place to rehabilitate you. You over here messing with Green Dot. Can't even automatically drop your check in there. Green Dot only work for ordering stuff offline. But here it is. I'm believing God for a car. I'm praying for a car. But you hadn't done anything during your training and believing season to prepare for the car that you're going to have. You're going to have everything that God has prepared for you. It's already yours. You ain't got to negotiate. It is yours. But what are you going to do during this training season to be able to prepare for the manifestation of it? If he gave you a car right now, we had a man walk in. Let him walk in and say, "Ooh, I said the Lord told me to come over here. It's a woman in here, and I got a brand new S500 for her. Brand new, 2 miles on it. Ooh, thank the Lord." And you get over there to the place, the man can't do nothing. You ain't got no license. You don't have a bank account. You ain't finished the driving license course. Here it is, your blessing right here, and you shouting, but you can't walk into it. Because in your waiting season, you ain't do nothing but hope.
Come on.
You had the faith, but where your works at?
Come on.
Faith without what? Works. So you need the faith, but you also need to work.
Come on.
You're going to be able to need to grow in order to reach everything that God has promised you. God said you ain't got to seek me for the promise. It's already yours. It is promised to you. Your name is on it. You ain't got to seek me for the promise. But you do got to trust me in the process. And when you trust in me in the process, you got to be able to work and maneuver and do and grow in the areas I need you to grow. And so you got to be, the process is your training station. God is trying to train you, so you got to wipe them tears so that you can see God, not why, but what. God, no, God, why? Why is me, God? Why is always me going through? I had to get over that. God had to tell me that. That's how I can tell you. He had to tell me. Stop crying about God, why, and ask me, what is it that I'm trying to show you about you? What is it that I'm trying to teach you about me? And so I had to move from, God, why is it always me? I be helping everybody and don't nobody help me. And oh my God, I just be out here all by myself. And he said, you done yet? Are you done? Because when you finish crying, there's some stuff that I'm trying to get to you. There is some stuff that's connected to the promise that you need to fix. Because right now, I know that they messed over you. I understand that. But you about to mess over yourself because they don't control what I have promised you. But you can. You can. They can't stop nothing, but you can stop everything. And so I had to move from God why to God what. All right, God, this don't make sense. I just went through something and nothing about it made sense. Mom and Dad and I were sitting there and we was like, I have never in all of my years heard of anything like this. Lawyers didn't understand it. People that had been in the financing place for years saying, I have never heard anything like this. And I kept saying, God, how you always place me in a never heard anything like this place? He said, because everything I'm getting ready to do in your life, eyes hadn't seen it yet. So I need you to get used to, I ain't never heard this, because I'm about to do some stuff that ain't nobody ever heard of. So I got to get you used to the never heard, because you're about to be manifested and walking into the never heard of. So I said, okay, God. I had to wipe my face. I was really frustrated and crying. Me, mama, and daddy all got into it at one time. Mama was trying to mediate. Me and daddy was fussing. Everybody was just frustrated and tired. And so after an hour, we went a few hours. Ain't nobody say nothing. We was just quiet because we knew the enemy was busy. So after a long time, I had to get with God, and I said, okay, God, what are you showing me? And he said, Dominique, I'm stretching you. I'm stretching you beyond a capacity that people have never heard of, because I'm about to prepare people to do some things for you that they ain't never heard of. So I need you to get used to moving into never heard of promises.
Come on.
So in order for you to move into something that eyes have never seen, people got to get used to you. You got to get used to experiencing something that ain't never been heard of.
Yeah.
So in order for you to experience something that has never been heard of, God got to show you how to deal with some never been heard of situations. So I dealt with some stuff that ain't nobody ever heard of. But then he showed me, I need you how to be in the never would have heard of and want to give up, but I need you to, I'm stretching you for your faith.
Come on.
So the more I had to fight, the stronger my faith got. And it wasn't until I had to fight that I learned how to fight.
Come on.
See, you can say all day long you know how to fight, but it ain't until you actually got to fight that you figure out how to fight.
Yeah.
All day long, it look like it's going to be easy and cute, but fighting wears you out.
Yeah.
Anybody ever had a fight? Don't raise your hand too much. Fighting wear you out. When you finish fighting, first of all, your hair all jacked up, you're sweating, your heart beating fast, you're tired, you feel like you got hit by Tonka trucks. How I know? My cousin used to have us fighting. To this day, TB, we did break that bookshelf. I just want to be honest. DJ in school to have me and Mike fighting, and so I pushed Mike up against that bookshelf. It was one of those moments where we was like, oh, everybody stop. You stop fighting, you like, fix it, fix it, fix it. So we put it up against the wall so TB ain't know that we was back there fighting. But after we finished fighting, we both was tired. We just went to sleep, took a nap. Woke up the next morning sore. Fighting wears you out. So if you're saying you in a faith fight, but you ain't sore, you ain't fighting, or you ain't in faith, one of the two ain't happening. Because being in a faith fight, it wears you out because it's like you maxing out. And so in order for you to truly be in a faith fight, then if it's too comfortable and easy for you, you ain't really fighting yet. So if you really got to work your faith, you're going to be in some places to where you're going to be challenged with your faith. So it took me about 10 no's. 10 no's. I was done by the first no. I was done. They said no. All right, all this time. You should have said no the first time we walked in there. Then you got to run the thing and tell me 10 times no, then we get to another place. Promise you all this stuff. Oh, well, we couldn't do it. What you mean? So then we get to another place. 10 times God had to get me used to a no. He had to get me used to a no so that I would be relentless in finding my yes.
Yes. Hallelujah.
My God. Yes.
Hallelujah.
So if the first place would have told me yes, I would have been fine to just get yes on one try. But God said, for where I'm trying to take you, I need you to be relentless, not to focus on the no, but to go and find your yes. Because I have the yes out there. And sometimes it feels like a scavenger hunt. But that's when trusting God comes into place. Because in my own, I'm hunting for nothing. But in God's plan, it all makes sense. So if I do it in my natural state, this is crazy. I ain't never heard nothing like this before. Call a company, send somebody down there, beat everybody up because I'm tired. People let me ride around like that and go through all of that, and I'm thinking it's done. And then you got the nerve enough to call me back and talk about drop it off. What you mean? I signed everything already. I ain't never heard of nothing like this. according to the paperwork, it's mine. And so I had to be resilient and relentless to stick to the fact that it is mine.
That's it. Oh,
It is mine.
glory.
And ain't nobody gonna stop or take away what's already mine. My name is on it. I stopped the claim for it. I gave you money for it. I put in work for it. So how dare you take it from me? Oh no, baby, it's time to fight. And so God said, I needed you to fight for this in the natural, because in the spirit, the enemy is mad at you because you took his spot. So now he want to take you out of your spot, because he knows if you ever see everything that I have promised you, he is in trouble. So he had to get me to experience and be resilient for my yes in the natural, because in the spirit, every morning I wake up, I got to tell God yes. Every morning I wake up, I got to tell the devil, you ain't taking nothing that's mine. But I had to trust the process, and I had to train in the process. So everything that you're going through, this is training camp. Training camp gets you ready for the big game. And I can't tell you yet. I can't tell you yet. But when I do tell you, something I've been looking for my whole life, God says, see, I told you it was just beyond the growth spurt. But if I would have never grown for it, what is not growing shrinking you to? See, when I think about a call that I got this week, I thought about would I have gotten the call if I didn't let him grow me? And so when I got the call, I was like, okay, God, what else you want to grow? So you can see, is the publishing company, they calling, checking emails just to see who they see is following me. Because now that I saw what can happen if I let him grow me, I'm trying to grow some more so I can see, well, what else over there?
All glory.
You'll never know what it feels like to go from crawling to walking till you walk. Kids like being held because they think it's getting them some places. Oh, but when they figure out they can get there on their own. You ever seen the baby just figure out how to walk? It's like they start stumbling, then they're like, ooh. You just move fast. Why? Because when I had to just trust in you to hold me, it was only so far I can go. When you were ready to stop, I had to stop. I may have wanted to walk some more, but because I had to trust you to walk me, then I was only able to go where you wanted to go. But baby, when I learned how to walk by myself, and so when I began to tell Dad, because he is a true father, if he could, he would give me the entire world if he could. But I had to get to a place, I know he always say I'm his independent child, but what it is like, Daddy, you will never get to see how much I was listening and how much everything that you taught me is working if I let you always do it for me.
That's it.
So it's not that I don't want you to do it. I know you can do it. But I want to show you that I can do everything that you showed me while I was in training camp. I was listening. I was watching. As a matter of fact, I want to show you and do it my way so that I can make a way for you.
Hallelujah.
We ain't got to have no pledge. Bishop, I beat the budget. It's good. Write the check. Everything else is Jane now. I can't wait for that day. I promise you. My first million, I'm buying him some. He can have 20 churches. I'm still buying one.
Hallelujah.
If he don't want a church, I'll buy him the biggest store I can find. Anything. Hit a whole storefront. It's yours, Daddy. You can put a cleaners over here. You can have a hair shop over here. Shoes on this side. What you want? I got you.
Hallelujah. That's right.
I dream of that day. Not because I know that he can't do it on his own, but because I know that if I can grow and if I can stretch my faith, if all of his faith got me here, then where can my faith take us? His faith got me to 32 years. So I'm just waiting on to say, oh, Daddy, where my faith gonna take us? Because everything that he put on, that God put on the inside of him, he put on the inside of me. So if it grew him, then it's gonna grow me. And if it grow me, then it's gonna grow all of us. Where can we go if we all grow together? How far can we reach if we all stretch at once? See, it's one thing for him to be up here and stretch. It gets a little longer when Pastor Lisa stretch. But if Evangelist stretch, and Jennifer stretch, and Cameron stretch, and Anna stretch, look how long and far out it goes if we all stretch.
Come on.
And so growth doesn't have a shortcut.
All glory.
It's a continual process. You never stop growing. As a matter of fact, when you reach a certain age, you actually start shrinking. Shrinking is a sign that there is something wrong. Shrinking is a sign that, wait a minute, she gets smaller, it's a problem somewhere. It's a warning sign that something is getting ready to be off. So don't be afraid to grow. Don't be afraid to stretch. Don't be afraid to be past your capacity. There's some clothes you shouldn't even want to fit anymore. I know it sounds cute because we're in this wealth and healthy stage, but in some stuff, don't you want to be able to get to a certain size so you can go buy new stuff? I don't want to fit my clothes from high school even though I could fit them. I threw them all away. I was mad. I don't want to fit the high school stuff. I want some woman stuff. Sometimes we try to go back, right? We try to go back and be able to fit the stuff that we already outgrew. I outgrew it so I can grow into something else.
Yeah.
We can't go back to 99.
Come on.
We can't go back over there to Sherwood Forest. God said, I ain't trying to take you backwards. I'm trying to move you forward. And if you pay attention to how God works in his plan, God had to get up off that one street. Because this street actually, it will lead you into where he's trying to take us. But it took us to getting off the street. We went from that place to the church across the street. Then we tried to go around the little corner and God said, no, I need you to get you in a whole nother street so that you can trust me in a whole nother way. So that you can see that this is way bigger than what you think it is. I know that church was nice and it was cute and it was quaint, but it wasn't big enough for what I want to do. So I got to put you in a place that gets you uncomfortable because I need your mindset to stretch beyond your comfort zone. And I need you to get uncomfortable with the lavender walls so that you can move into the marble floors and so that you can see the digital screen. But if you can't trust me in the process of what I'm doing and know that I have a plan for it, then you will just be good on that one little street. We would have been good on that one street. We'd have found 2-3 churches on that one street. God said, I got to get you off this street so that you can get on my street and move to the streets that I'm trying to take you.
Hallelujah.
You'll catch it tomorrow.
Hallelujah.
Ephesians 4:15, part B says, we are to grow up in every way into him who is head into Christ. It says that we got to grow in every way. Growth needs discipline. 1 Timothy 4:7, but have nothing to do with worldly fables, fit only for old women. On the other hand, discipline yourself for the purpose of godliness. Growth needs discipline. The third thing that you have to do is you have to triumph in the promise. So the first thing, you have to trust the plan. Secondly, you have to train through the process. And thirdly, you have to triumph in the promise. Growth takes time and effort. Growth is inevitable. If you yield to it, you will grow. If you stop stopping, you will grow. God, how I always end up right here? Because that's where you keep stopping it. But if you let me just grow you and not be afraid to grow, then I can take you beyond where you keep saying, well, I always end up right here. I always end up with these same people because you're always around them same kind of people. Same character, new face. So God said, if you stop crying to me about always being around the same type of people, you got to grow to another caliber of people. You're never going to get to the caliber and the character of you want to if you keep staying where you always been. I always find myself around like hood situations because you're still in the hood.
Come on. Teach.
I mean, they put some new houses over there, but it's still over there on 38.
Amen.
They put a new house in a new frame in the same subdivision, right? Same thing we're doing. We're putting a new mentality in the same environment, and we're expecting to get something different. It's just going to grow you in that same environment. But if you want to grow beyond that, you got to take your mentality and grow it into a different environment. It doesn't mean that you forgot about the past and where you came from. It means that I got to grow beyond it so I can go back and show you that there is something beyond where we always been. 5 growth characters in the Bible. The woman at a well, she yielded to growth. Growth was theirs, but she was at the well, and she had to yield herself to be able to grow to where Christ needed her to grow. So the blind man, he had to seek out growth. I know that growth is possible, so let me just wait. Jesus! I'm seeking out for it. I'm going to find my growth place. I can't see in my natural, but my spirit is seeing beyond where I am. Yeah. The woman with the issue of blood, she had to grow on purpose. She left her house with the purpose of growing beyond her situation. Sometimes you got to be willing to grow on purpose. Yes, I purposefully left all of y'all alone because there was somewhere I needed to be. Not that I wanted to be, but it was something that I was hungry and I was thirsting after something that you couldn't fulfill. So I on purpose left this area in order to grow in a new area. The lepers, they had to grow through what they were going through. See, God gave them the word, but they didn't get healed from him speaking it. They had to listen and grow through it. So he said, I gave you the word, now go to the priest. They had to grow through what they were going through. So as they got the word began to manifest when they started walking away and heading to the priest. So sometimes you have to grow through what you're going through.
That's right. Yes. That's right. That's a word.
And then the withered man, he had to grow for greater. So here it was that in order for him to reach his growth capacity, Jesus said, stretch out your hand. So here it was that he didn't just speak a word and then the hand just came out by itself. Here it was, a withered man's hand, and he said, now stretch out your hands. Sometimes you're going to have to grow for greater. Sometimes you're going to have to yield to growth, that you're going to have to finally realize in order for me to get to where I need to be, I'm going to have to allow God to grow me. Other times you're going to have to seek out growth. Just get in a place where you say, Jesus, if don't nobody help me, then I know can't nobody help me but you. Then other times you're going to have to grow on purpose. You got to leave from your mama and your auntie now, and you're going to have to grow on purpose to seek God. I no longer can do it the way you're saying it, but I know that God is calling me for greater. He's asking me to do more. So on purpose, I got to leave all of y'all alone. And matter of fact, I got to leave all of y'all alone and then leave everything there that was associated with y'all.
Yes.
And then there are going to be times where you're just going to have to grow through it. The amazing thing about growing through is that if you're going through, you got to come out. Stop being so sad. Talk about I'm going through. Be glad that you're going through. I want you to be sad if you say, girl, I'm just stuck in a mess. Then it's sad. But when you come to me and tell me I'm going through, rejoice and be exceedingly glad. Because if you're going through, that means you're stepping out and going into something else. Don't be sad anymore talking about I'm always going through. That means you're always going somewhere. If I look at you and you're still in the same place that you always been in, then you're stuck. Then we have a problem. But if you're going through something, that means you're always coming out. Put your hands together and bless the name of the Lord. Do you know that you are an heir to a promise?
Yes.
Not only an heir to a promise, but you're an heir to the kingdom of God. But your reaping is predicated on your growth. In order for you to reap the heir's promise, you got to grow. See, there's some stuff that Daddy put in the will. I know it's there, but I can't get it until I reach a certain age and until he died.
All right.
It's mine. It's my inheritance. It's a nice little chunk of change. But until I grow to reach the capacity where I'm in a receiving state, it's just over there. A promise. That he paid the bill on. But I can't reap the inheritance until I grow into the season of being able to receive it. There is an inheritance that you can't reap until you grow.
Yes.
So if you are unwilling to get out of the womb phase and move into the mature, full, solid food phase, God says a whole lot of stuff over here you're praying for that you can't reap until you grow for it. So it's time to grow for it. There are things you are asking for that you are refusing to grow get. You're ready to go get it, but you're refusing to grow get it. See, I want it as long as you put it in my hands. But if you're telling me I got to do something for it, I ain't going to grow to that. God, because that means you're going to put me somewhere where it's just me. And I like my friends. They've been my same friends since I was in high school. And so I don't know no other people. Did you know that I have to watch this because I'm watching my words and confessions. Did you know that I am more comfortable? My comfort zone is the children. Right? So if I walk into a room with people, it was very uncomfortable for me to be in a room full of just adults because y'all different. Adults different. Y'all want some other stuff. Kids, I can trust them because they're going to be honest. They're going to be truthfully honest. Well, really, I don't really like you that much. Cool, I can respect that. Adults different. You smiling and grinning and then it's a group text somewhere dogging me out. So with adults, I was socially awkward and I would actually have an anxiety because my comfort zone was children. So if you ever paid attention, I look in the room and I would go straight to the child in the room because that was my comfort zone. Adults made me nervous. I don't know if you really like me, what you're saying. Am I smiling? How I'm looking? Did you side eye me? Are you blinking? Are we going to actually have a conversation? Am I going to know what you're talking about? Or am I just not really ready for this conversation? So I'll be like, forget all that. What a child is. Oh, hey, what's your name? And so God said, for what I need to do in your life, I need to grow you. And so he had to take me out of my comfort zone and put me around people that I wasn't really comfortable with. But the reason he had to do that, he said, I didn't never understand what he was trying to do with this new book and with me going into colleges. The first time I ever had to speak at Southern University, oh my God, I went into this panic attack. I had to have this really deep conversation with Dr. Arisha, and I couldn't remember scriptures. I couldn't remember the Bible because this was my first time of having to speak to people outside of church. So I was like, well, how you do this? Am I Pastor D? Am I Dominique? Do you say the scripture? Do you not say the scripture? Oh my God, I'm going to a campus. I didn't go to an HBCU, so I didn't know what they look like. I'm in a room full of people that look like me. That was new. I'm used to being in a room that's kind of like multicultural. I went to Southern, Southeastern, then I went to Central. So I'm used to being a few of us in the room. I don't know how to really act when it's all of us in the room. Then it was a whole bunch of females. I really don't do good with females. I was like, God, listen, I was a tomboy. All my friends usually just dudes. I understand dudes. These girls, I don't really know. I don't really mess with them like that. So I really was like really panicking. Like, oh my God, I can't even remember the scripture. I can't remember the words. And Dr. Arisha said, pause. Everything that you need to be in this room is in you. So go in the room the way you go in the room. And I was like, what you mean? She said, be you. They called for Dominique. So let Dominique show up. And so Dominique showed up and I was like, oh, okay. Universities. I'm good. Okay, good. All right, cool. So then I went to another university and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to Southeastern. Then I went to another university. I went to Kentucky State and I was like, okay, God, you put me in a room with young adults. Good. Young adults, cool. I can respect them. And then he said, go to women's ministry. What you mean women's ministry? Women? Like older ladies? Like what we going to talk about? Like what we going to do? Like how they going to understand it? How you make this Pastor D be respectful for the older, mature saint? What you mean? So God put me with my book in an area where he had to grow me in order for me to be able to accomplish what it was that he showed me at 10.
Yes.
Wow.
Come on.
And so I went from being used to children to cool with teenagers to now I was cool with young adults. And then I showed up to a women's ministry meeting, and the youngest person in the room that wanted to review my book was 60. All right, no, she was 30, and the oldest person was like 65. And here it is, me, who thought that I was only good enough for kids. God placed me and he grew me to where now I'm ministering to 65-year-olds. Like the first time Mother Gray told me my sermon reached her, I was like, whoa, wait, God, what is you doing? Like, and so God said, in order for you to reach the promise, I had to grow you through all of these steps. And if I never would have grown for it, I would just die hoping and saying, well, God showed me when I was 10.
Come on, baby.
So in order for us to reach this building, This one right here. In order for us to reach this one, because remember, where we're going is not this one yet. Then God has to grow us here. He got to get you used to coming to church at 10 here. Because see, right now, you comfortable because you know it's a seat in there. But when we get over there, you're going to be wishing you had a seat. Your name ain't on it. So he needs you to get in the mindset right now that, girl, let me hurry up and get to church so I can find somewhere to sit down. What you going to do then? So he needs to stretch you and grow you. If you got that struggle with that $10, then you saying, oh, if I get $1 million, I'm going to pay my tithes. Lies. Now how much tithes is on $1 million? It's $100,000. You got to get used to this $10. Girl, let me get used to sowing my $10 seed because I know the Lord about to take me up. Then get used to the $100. The first time I had to pay tithes on my salary, I was like, whoa, this will be, okay, well, all right, God, then let me put that little over there. I had to get used to it. But God had to grow me to the capacity of where I wanted to be. And so that's the same thing God is requiring of you. He's saying, grow for it. Everything that you need is just beyond your willingness to grow. Every promise that I have for you is just beyond your willingness to allow me to grow you. And so if you allow me to grow you, that there are things just beyond your growth spurt. There are promises just beyond your growth spurt, but you have to be willing to let me grow you for what it is that I promised you. I want it for you. I desire it for you, but you got to grow, get it. So when you grow and you get it, then I'm going to get you to a capacity to where you don't lose it. But are you willing to grow? It's time to grow. You are an heir, a person legally entitled to an inheritance, to something you didn't have to do anything for but mature. Can you handle your inheritance? Can you locate where you are and leap for where you need to be? You have outgrown where you are, and it's time for you to shift to where he needs you to be in order to receive what it is you're asking for. He didn't tell the woman at the well to not be thirsty. He asked her to mature her taste, because if he had given her the drink then, it wouldn't have quenched her thirst as it was designed to. He had to remove and grow her from the well of her past and grow her for the wealth of her future. Because there were so many other things that quenched her thirst, he couldn't be the thirst quencher. But he had to expand and grow her mind to say, listen, baby, I know you're thirsty, and I'm not changing you to change your desire of the thirst, but I am asking you, if you would just trust me, that I can give you a thirst that will quench you so much so you will never be thirsty again. So I need you to grow up in all areas. So Team Higher, let's grow again. Let's move beyond our ability and our capacity to be complacent with where we are, and let's trust God for where we're growing to. It's time for us to grow again. At 18 years old, there is some of us, as for females, they say that we stop growing. But for a male, you get to grow physically for an extra 3 years. But even though you stop growing in your natural state, your mental state, your emotional state still has the ability to grow. And so at this point, Team Higher, at this point everybody in here, let's grow in every area of our lives. Let's grow in every area of the ministry. Let's grow for where it is that we want to grow. Grow for where you want to go. Don't just be complacent and content with seeking God for where you are, but let's just grow in the area to seek God for where we want to be. God, I thank you for my today, but can you grow me for my tomorrow? Can you show me where I'm headed? Can you prepare me me for what you're doing down the line. That God, I am trusting you to supply the needs of my today. And I thank you for supplying the needs of my yesterday. But God, I'm yielding myself over to you so that you can grow me for my tomorrow, so that you can grow me for my next week, for my next month. And I mean that I need to trust you so bad that it don't even make sense unless I seek your face, that I can't understand it until I hear your voice. So God, I am asking you, as a matter of fact, I am surrendering my all to you, because God, I need you to grow me for it. I need you to grow me through it. I need you to grow me in it. I need you to stretch me beyond where I'm willing to be. And just like you did to Moses, and for all night long he stood with his arms outstretched, but it was the only way that they were going to walk through on the other side. God is saying that the promise is just beyond your stretching point. Your promise is just beyond your